All right, Anne, so excited to be with you here today. It's been a few months since we've chatted, but we worked together. I'm trying to remember exactly when we connected at first. I feel like it was late 2020. Does that sound right to you?
Probably something like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So when we first met, do you remember how we originally connected and kind of what was going on when we first started chatting?
Yeah, so I was looking for some help to make a career transition. I did a lot of research online to what was available, and being in a highly technical field with a highly technical background, I definitely wanted to work with someone who understood that, and you definitely fit the bill.
Cool. And so paint a picture of kind of what the situation was that caused you to want to make a career transition. What were some of those big questions you were trying to figure out there?
Yeah, so the position I was in, I was working in industry and consulting. The culture of the company I was at just wasn't a great fit for me, and I didn't really see a lot of, I didn't see a long-term place for me at that company, and I was really wanting to expand back into a different field and get into a different line of work. So, but I didn't exactly know what that was. I have a very interdisciplinary background. I have a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of environmental science and nanochemistry, and I really like doing some project management, and I didn't entirely understand how to fit all that together. So one of the most valuable things for me was when we could sit down and identify what it is I actually liked about work. um, and we learned a lot of stuff. We learned that I liked being a project manager of technical projects, and that was huge for me because that hadn't even crossed my mind as a potential career path. So just being able to identify what it is I actually wanted to do, of course, helps identify the direction we want to go, and build some confidence in all the different seemingly disparate skills, but they actually come together into a pretty well-rounded package.
Yeah, it's cool. I remember kind of moving through some of the options and things that you felt like maybe were possible for you. And at one point, I think you said, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, even though
No.
you're like a PhD level scientist and done a bunch of different things. Like, well, I don't know where to go here. But it was cool to see you kind of unpack the layers and start to chart a path and kind of melding all these things together towards project management of technical projects was a cool discovery for you. And so we started on that path trying to figure out, okay, how do we make that happen? So how did that? I know there was kind of a long line of networking that kind of landed you in a new opportunity. How did that fit together?
Yeah, so I have to, in order to understand this story, we have to bring in the other side of my life, which has been athletic endeavors.
Mhm.
I raced mountain bikes professionally for a while, and it was cool to see how some of the skills that I built through mountain biking could also complement the path that we were building.
Right.
And so through that network of mountain biking, I met some folks who work at Los Alamos National Lab, and got to chatting with them about what types of career opportunities are there, which there are a lot, um, and learned about a job called a technical project manager, which I'd never heard of before, but it seemed to check all the boxes. So I started applying, and now I'm a technical project manager at Los Alamos National Lab.
Okay. So how did that, and how has that been a fit for you, making a move to a new location and in a new role in a government lab, even though you've done some pretty high level research before? How has that transition been for you? And what were some of the key wins through that process?
Yeah, it's been a great fit. So one of the great things that you and I worked on is coming up with a list of things that were really important to me in a position,
Mm,
right? Essentially a checklist. And it allowed me to identify potential job or positions that fit that checklist. So going into it, it was a little less blind, I guess. We
mhm,
knew what we were looking for. And the technical project management position really checked a lot of those boxes for me.
mhm.
It allowed me to stay in a technical field, where I work in an analytical chemistry group. So that's a lot of my technical background fits into that. Um, it brought in the project management side, which we learned I really like doing.
Yeah.
And it it also allows me to work on things that, you know, you can't work on anywhere else in the world, which is super cool. And it really brings in a purpose to my work that I was lacking before.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you just told me that you got your PMP certification recently, you know, continuing on
Yeah.
that project management stuff. And also even
Hmm.
had a couple of raises in only 8 months in the new role, which is always fun too. Um,
Yep.
so kind of looking over the whole experience and kind of moving, you know, starting off, identifying that you want to make a change. We worked together, you made the shift there. What was kind of the most helpful thing that you felt like you got out of the experience of working together that really helped set you up for success in making the move and then, you know, continuing forward and beyond?
Yeah, it's hard to boil it down to one thing, I'm going to be honest. And you didn't pay me to say that. Uh, I think for me, coming up with, you know, identifying what it is I wanted to do, that's
Mhm.
huge, and that
Yeah.
really can't be minimized. I really don't necessarily know what I want to be when I grow up, but like I like the path I'm on now.
Yeah.
Uh, but you know, there's always new positions and new possibilities that you don't really even
Mhm.
know about. The second thing was coming up with the list of things that were important to me in a job. It's something I had never really done before, and it helped
Mhm.
me realize like what was really valuable to me. Um, and then finally, we worked through some imposter syndrome about being a really interdisciplinary uh, package, I guess, and changing it from what seemed like a limitation to more of an asset. And that was super helpful as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it was so fun to work with you then and to hear some of the things you're doing now. And so what would you say to anyone who's considering perhaps working with me or doing the engineering career accelerator program?
Well, if you too do not know what you want to be when you grow up, give it a shot. It's pretty cool. It's a very intentional way of identifying what is important to you in a career and some potential ways to put that into practice.
Cool. Well, Anne, it was such a pleasure to reconnect here and hear how well you're doing, and excited to stay connected and hear of more successes for you as you continue to chart your path. You know, you made one shift and you're on the path and you like it, but there's still plenty more for you to continue to do and ways to grow. And I'm excited to witness that. So let's stay in touch. Thanks so much.
Thank you.